Thank you for being here. I'm so excited. This is episode 2 of Q's with Candus. It's a super catchy name, right? You guys helped me with that. I'm not super fancy on names, and we get questions literally every day here if you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook, and also just in our email and through our community. And I found that if I just answer one person, there's other people who have the same question. So I thought, well, how can I serve all of you and help you out? And have a place for you to reference these questions. I thought this would be the perfect thing. I do Q's with Candus once a month. This is our episode number 2. And I'll be doing this every month as long as we enjoy it. So as long as it's light, fun, and easy, as one of my mentors says, then do it. If it's not light, fun, and easy, then you need to switch up whatever you're doing in your business. Would you agree with that? Like, if it's not fun, don't do it. That's my new motto. I missed last week. I was on vacation, Rana says, I will be watching the replay. So she's one of my simplified members. I was saying earlier before I actually started clicking record, if you missed it, that the last few weeks I have been super busy, which makes me a little extra probably silly today because I'm a little bit tired, truth be told. I did a simplified membership bonus Q&A for that community. And then I did a Confidence with QuickBooks bonus Q&A last week. And then yesterday I did a workshop, and I said, probably in the last week's worth of time, last week and this week, I have probably answered over 100 questions, which takes a lot of brain juice actually when you guys ask me questions. That's also why it's easier for me to answer them here, because if I have to try to type out the answer, it's very complicated. Like for me, I communicate much easier verbally. Are you like that? Let me know. Some people are that way, some aren't. So today we're gonna start our thought of the day with our thought of the day, our workshop with the thought of the day. So I was trying to say. So we're gonna use the Life Loves You deck from Louise Hay and Robert Holden. Have you seen me pull this deck before? It's one of my favorite decks. Okay, so the cards are over here. I'm gonna pull them. Yes, I have a slightly different backdrop because I'm working in the office with the team. Normally I'm at my studio. So I will be back there next week, hopefully, next time that you see me, hopefully. So what are we meant to hear today? What do you think we're gonna get? I never know. I express my gratitude. That's our card for today. It's kind of a little bit extra light. It says, make gratitude your spiritual practice today. Start with, good morning, bed. Thank you for being so comfortable. I love you. The more you express gratitude, the more you will find to be grateful for. This is so true. And this is Louise Hay. And in her book, she talks about that. That's what she did as a morning practice. She would get up, or she would lay in bed for a few minutes and just snuggle in and say thank you, bed. I'm so grateful. And I will be honest, I love to do that. I love my bed. I actually didn't want to get out of bed this morning. That was a while ago, but I was like, oh, I don't really want, I know I have things to do today, but I don't really want to get to bed. Do you ever feel like that? And it's only Wednesday, right? It's only halfway through the week and I didn't want to get out of bed. All right, so the way this is going to work, if you've never been here before, is we have compiled a ton of questions that we get asked all the time, and we've picked them for today's Q&A or Q's with Candus. So they've already been picked. I'm going to ask you if it makes sense when I answer the questions, but I'm not necessarily going to answer your specific question today because they've already been picked. I will be over the next couple months doing bonus Q&As here and there where you guys can probably come and I'll do some type of training. You can come ask me. So keep an eye out for that. If you haven't already joined my tips and tricks, you can go to CandusCamper.com/tips to join, and we'll email you when these are going to be happening. And I have a mastermind coming up. So I'll tell you that right now while I'm thinking about it. If you don't know, 2 to 3 times a year, I run Confidence with QuickBooks Mastermind, which is not only where you learn how to set and customize QuickBooks up for your specific business, or if you're a bookkeeper for your clients, but also you get to ask me questions similar to this, but you actually get to unmute yourself and chat. We probably have some mastermind members here. I'm going to be opening it up again in September. And then I won't open it again until next year. So if you're wanting to join, you've been keeping an eye out for the mastermind, you can join the waiting list to be notified at CandusCamper.com/mastermind. Gracie will put that in the chat just so you guys get it. If you ever have questions, you can always email us as well at support@CandusCamper.com. And that is everything. All right, so Gracie, tell me, she's here to help. She's gonna tell me what the first question is, and we're gonna get into it. We're gonna answer it.
And
Okay, so I will make sure you're a panelist. Now, if you guys don't know, this little trick is I set up, so my Dell computer had a little glitch. It's new, and it got a glitch, so I had to mail it off. So I had to set up QuickBooks on my Mac. So this is on my Mac. It might look slightly different, but it's desktop on my Mac. So that's how we're going to be answering questions today. I love it. I asked you guys if you were curious. Not very many of you said you were interested in really learning about it. So that's okay. But if you are, let me know. You can put it in the chat. And that's that. All right. So what's the first question?
Okay. Our first question is, if a credit card payment was made from the business owner's personal bank account, how would I post this transaction, or what bank account would I use?
Okay, so the question is, if I'm paying my credit card personally, how do I enter that into QuickBooks? There's a couple different ways to do it. So the thing is, whenever you guys ask questions, it's not usually as easy as like one simple answer, because there's variables without knowing all the facts, right? So it's kind of like an attorney. You ask a question, or your CPA, and then I'm like, well, it depends. So I'm going to give you a couple different ways that you could go about this. One, so these are factors that involve how it works, okay? Which answer is the right one for you depends on these factors. Does that make sense? So one is, if your credit card is a business credit card, but you're paying for it personally, and you've entered all your credit card charges here, which I know we have some questions about that later. Banking, enter credit card charges. That's how you're going to enter your credit card charges. Then when you pay it, you're going to, you can either do a journal entry, or you can do a credit card credit. Okay. This is the answer for this is if you are, it's a business credit card, but you're just helping put money into your business. So the way I would do that is I would do it as an owner contribution. Did they say that they're paying? The best way to do it would actually be to take it from your personal account and transfer money to your business account, and then your business account pay your credit card. But based off the question, I'm guessing that the person didn't do that. So there's two ways to do it. If you are a journal entry person and you prefer journal entries, I'm going to give you that. And if not, I'm going to show you how you can do it through inside the credit card itself. Okay, so you could go under company, make general journal entries, and I have a little cheat sheet that I offer my Commons QuickBooks members and my simplified community, where it teaches you about your debits and credits. But the thing to know is credit cards are a liability account, which increases with credits. So if you're paying them down, you would pick your credit card that you paid. This is one way to do it, remember. Let's say it's a Wells Fargo. This is just a sample file. Let's just say you made a $1,000 payment for convenience. Then you could do owner contribution, owner distribution, one or the other. It's an equity account. And I think that might be a question that we have later. I can't remember. We get lots of questions, so I just don't remember what the team picked exactly. And so it would be debiting the credit card, crediting your owner contribution. And you could say paid Wells Fargo credit card, ... right? And you put it on both lines. Okay. So that's one way to do it. The other way to do it, if you're like, I don't know journal entries and I'm not very like that's not what you're comfortable with, then you could go under banking, credit card charges, click on the refund/credit side. This is just a workaround. Is it the perfect system? Not necessarily, but I'm trying to give you how you could do what you're doing. So you would do credit card credit, and then here you would put in, you could just put in like Wells Fargo credit card, and then you paid $1,000. And then here is owner's, oops, sorry, clicked the wrong thing. Owner's contribution kind of thing, okay? Or shareholder, depending on if it's a loan or if you're just putting money into your business. I mean, there's always all these factors. So the answer might vary depending. That's why no matter what I create on YouTube or any of the tips and tricks I create, there's always a question because there's so many variables that people have. But this would be one of the things. Ideally though, the perfect way to do this would be to put the money into your business and then pay your credit card from your business account. That's the best way to do it. And in that way, you could also record a deposit. So it would be like you're putting money into your account, let's say into your Wells Fargo account, and then it's coming from you as the owner contribution. That would be the ideal way. And then you'd write a check and you actually pay it. Okay? That answer, guys, did that make sense? Everybody that's here, that's live, Let me know in the chat, did that make sense? And then we'll go on to the next question. I missed okay, that's from before. Yay, Max, says Rachel. That's funny. Yes, makes sense, says Rachel. Okay, perfect. And Lisa said yes. Awesome. Thank you for the feedback. I just want to make sure I'm clear because I think I'm clear and I want to make sure. What's the next question?
The next question is related. They're asking, what's the best way to enter a payment for my credit card and to have it reflect correctly on both my business checking account and the credit card account balance?
It doesn't matter how many credit card trainings I do, there's always still questions. So as a review, I think I even did this on our last Q's with Candus, you want to make sure that when you are entering your credit card charges that you're going under banking, enter credit card charges if it's not a bill that you're paying, and you're entering the credit card charge and then you're putting it to your expense account, right? That's just, or whatever you purchased, if it's an asset or whatever. Then the second part, which was the person's question, how do I make sure that my payment properly is reflecting in my bank account and paying down my credit card? So typically when you reconcile, so you're going to enter your credit card charges, and then typically you're going to reconcile it if you follow what I teach. And when you go to reconcile, it's going to ask you, do you want to, see if I can do one real fast. This is a bank, this is a bank account. Hold on. I like to teach you guys in a way that you can actually see it versus just tell it to you. So let me see if I can create one as an example. Okay, so let's just say 00 here. We're going to leave it at 00. Actually, I don't know what's going to happen. So give me 1 second. I didn't pre-plan this. This is just kind of like $200 payment. Okay, so let's click modify. And we're going to say, but there's no charges, so it's going to be negative. Well, anyways, normally when you are done with your credit card and you hit reconcile, it's going to ask you, do you want to write a check or do a payment? You just exit out and close it. Then when you actually pay your credit card, what I typically recommend is that you go in and write a check and you pick your bank account, right? And then the vendor is your credit card company. Then how much you paid down, let's just say it was $200. And then you pick the credit card down here. So you're going to scroll up and you're going to find your credit card and you're going to pay it down. So you've entered the charges as you've gone. Now you're paying down the credit card. Some people do is if they pay their credit card off every month, they'll break down the credit card expenses in the payment. Yes, you can do that, but it doesn't give you as much detail as if you actually enter your credit card charges. Okay. Now, accounts payable is a whole nother question on how to handle that. I don't typically teach it that way because it confuses people. So for this person's question, it's how do I properly pay down my credit card and make sure it goes into my bank account properly? And that's where you would do it. You go in, pick your credit card, and you pick the credit card as the vendor, and then you pick the credit card down here. Does that make sense? Do you guys have any questions? Let me know. All right. I could like literally be here all day just teaching you how to do this stuff because I actually enjoy teaching. I enjoy QuickBooks enough because it gives the end result, which is understanding your business. But what I really love is getting to interact with you and teaching. Makes sense, says Tammy. Awesome. Okay, what's next? What's the next one? We get a lot of credit card questions. So don't be surprised if it's like credit card question after credit card, because we have pages of just credit card questions.
Oh, yes. We do.
She says, oh, yes.
Okay, our next question is, when I try to enter credit card info for the first time, I get this message saying, you must assign an account for this transaction. What does this mean?
Okay, so typically what people don't realize when they're in here and they go, okay, so I went to Home Depot and I spent $100. Save. And it's like, wait a second, when you click save, it's gonna say, where's your account information? Super easy to fix. You say to yourself, this account, which I teach in my Getting Started workshop and in QuickBooks, and in Commons QuickBooks, but you have to say where you want it to go. All you've done at the top is said, this is where I spent the money and how much, but you haven't told QuickBooks what type of expense it is, which is where your profit and loss shows up, right? So you learn, what I love to teach is these accounts come from your chart of accounts. So when you're entering your credit card charges, you're choosing this account right here is where it's going to show up on your reports. So what that person was missing, I'm not sure the name, what they were missing was picking the expense account or asset account or wherever you want your charge to show up. Okay, does that make sense? Maria says, are you answering payroll questions as well? If they've been submitted and our team has selected them. Today, I'm only answering the questions that's already been pre-submitted. I'm not answering new questions today. All right, what's the next question? Does that make sense? You have to pick the account. Okay.
Okay, our next question is, someone said, I accidentally hit enter a bill for payment later instead of cancel after reconciling. And now I see the bill in AP. I have successfully reconciled the credit card account, so can I just void the bill?
Yeah, so what that person is asking, I don't know how well you guys can hear Gracie, but what they're saying is like, remember I said after you hit reconcile, you're supposed to hit cancel and not enter a bill? Because what happens is it moves it on the balance sheet from a credit card and it moves it over to accounts payable as a liability. We really want to keep it as the credit card because if you act like you paid the whole credit card off and you created it as a bill, but you didn't, you won't be able to reconcile in the future. That's why I don't teach it that way, as like the behind the scenes. Approximately how long will you be live? I will be live, I don't know, until the questions are answered, usually about 30 minutes. Might be closer to 40 today, I'm not sure. Pat, that was Pat. But as far as if you move it over as a reconciliation, it takes it and moves into accounts payable. So the person said, can I just go in and like void my inner bill? And the answer is yes. So you can go in, you can find a bill that's sitting there. Let me see if I have any in the sample file. I don't know if I do. Okay, so like right here is a bill, but we'll say this is a credit card. You just open it up and you can just go right here and click void. I typically recommend void over delete because then you can put a memo in there and you could say, didn't mean to create bill or gonna write it as a check or whatever you want. And you can just enter that data and then it will get rid of it, okay? So Gracie's gonna tell us the next question. Before she does, I just want to take a minute. I've been wanting to say this for the last few minutes. Thank you for being here and thank you for being part of my community. It actually means a lot that you're here. So I just want to say thank you. All right, next question.
Okay. Next question is, how do I void bills that were paid with a credit card by mistake rather than a checking account?
What was the question again?
How do I void bills that were paid with a credit card by mistake rather than a checking account?
Okay, so they were paid with pay bills versus, okay, so this question isn't totally clear because let's talk about what happens. So when we're setting up QuickBooks, we enter bills and then we use pay bills. This person though is saying that they used pay bills instead of write checks, correct?
Yes.
The thing is that it's okay to use pay bills. Does it say with credit card?
Yes.
Okay, so you can still use pay bills to pay with a credit card. They said instead of a checking account, so I'm not quite sure what that means, but because they're kind of saying different things.
Yes.
So, but when you're paying bills, you can still, instead of entering it as a credit card up here, you can enter it here as paying with a credit card payment. And then you pick the credit card you paid it with. So if you actually entered a bill and then you paid it this way, that's okay. But if you used credit card here instead of like check, and that's what the problem is because the person's question is slightly vague and saying a few different things. What you can do is the same thing. You can go under vendors, find the payment. So let's just say that it was let me find one here, see if I have one. So see, this is like a bill payment credit card. Here, you could just go up and void it and then reissue it with a check. So I think that's their question. Did that make sense for like the different ways you can fix if you accidentally enter a credit card wrong? Let me know in the chat. Somebody said, how do you reconcile the credit card statement? So it would be about getting your credit card statement and then going in and reconciling just like you do a bank account. What's the point of a reconciliation is to verify that everything that processed through your bank account, processed through your credit card matches, like what happened at the bank is what you've entered in QuickBooks. That's the purpose of doing reconciliations. Yes and yes. Okay, cool. All right. I'm not going to teach you today exactly how to do that. I think we have a video. I feel like I have a video on my YouTube on exactly how to reconcile a credit card. Or you can always join us in September for Commons QuickBooks. I teach it there too, but I'm pretty sure I have one on my I don't know if I have credit card specifically, but I think I did. I've watched it. Yes, you do. I've watched it, Tammy. Tamina? Anna. how do you say that? Tammy Anna? Yeah, you have the video. Everybody's like, you have the video. I have so many videos between my course, my Simplified, and then YouTube. Like sometimes I can't remember where I've put what. I'll be honest. And I do like Q2. I've watched it. A lot of people are saying they watched it. Just go to my YouTube channel. Here, let's just do a quick like, how can you serve Candus's YouTube channel? Maybe that'd be a good tutorial. Or you can go to CandusCamper.com. So let me show you real quick. This isn't part of what we're gonna do, but I might as well like show it to you. Oh, it wasn't, I didn't think it was working for a second, blog. So if you go to Candus Camper or my YouTube channel, they're on both places, and you go to my blog, you can actually search, if you guys didn't know this, for videos. You can use keywords. Review how to get rid of vendors with the open balances. Okay, I don't know if I'm gonna cover that today, Emily. Not sure how to get the screen where you void the bill. Okay, I'll come back to that in a second. So right here on my blog, if you typed in reconcile and hit search, whatever, like, look, I have like mindset by reconciling credit cards, like right there, look, and you can watch it. There's my cues. I must have talked about reconcile. So I have keywords, and you can use that from my blog. So if you go CandusCamper.com, go under my blog, and then you'll see QuickBooks tips, and you can search them. Side note. Okay. So, okay. What's the next question, Gracie?
Okay, the next question is, do I have to enter my password every time when sending invoices? Can I save my password somewhere so I don't have to enter it every time?
Yeah, so I have a few different tips on the password. Back to, I'm looking at the chat. So can you keep an eye on the Facebook chat for me as well?
Yes, yeah.
Emily is saying, you just talked about, so as far as like, if you have bills that you don't want, it's pretty easy. You just find the bill that you want to get rid of, open it up. I'm looking for one. I don't do bills very often in my tutorials. Here's one. So you open it up, and if it's like sitting there waiting to be paid as a mistake, you just go here, or you can go up under edit as well, and you can void them. I don't think it has void there. It has duplicate or delete, but you can with the little X. Void it. All right. So that's that question. The next question is, so that was just how do you void a bill that you don't want in there? The other thing is, don't forget the great tip of dropping this down and clicking open balances, and then it shows you everybody who has it, so you don't have to guess. With all vendors, you can actually drop this down and click open. Little side notes. Sorry, I can't help it. I get inspired to give you guys all these tips. I'm trying to stick to my list, but I'm not very good at it. Can you tell? Okay, so the next question was, how can I set up my password? I actually have a video on this as well, but how can I set up so I don't have to enter my email address every time? So if you go under edit preferences, I haven't done it for a little bit, so I'm just gonna, give me a second. I'm gonna have to refer them back to, like, where is that? Was it under general? I can't remember. Or right here. Manage login settings. So if you go under edit, preferences, general, company preferences, and it says manage login settings, log off every time you close it, or keep it logged in, and you can go up to 90 days now. So you don't have to log in every time. I also have a video on my channel on how to do this, which is like how to, I don't know what I called it, logging, like extend password maybe? That's the trick, is like what to call my videos sometimes. Okay, so we're ready for the next question, Gracie.
Alrighty. The next question is...
Tammy goes, I absolutely love the little tips. That's great. That's good. You guys, I realized the other day that I've been using QuickBooks since 2006 and basically teaching it since then, which means I'm on lucky number 13 years. So like they just kind of happen. I can't help it. The tips are great. Okay, so go ahead. What's the next question?
Okay. Is there any way to show on the printed invoice itself a list of the credit memos that were applied to the invoice?
Okay, so yes and no. You don't, on the invoices, it's not going to show the credit memos, but you can do one of two things. You could either give them an attached statement, and your statement is going to have like all the different, you can choose over here what you want, like open transactions for the statement, just for one customer. You can choose over here like details, show invoice item details. Like there's so much you can add to a statement. So that would be one thing you could add to your invoice. The other thing that I was thinking of for this person, what was the person's name? Do you know that asked the question?
Rebecca.
Rebecca. Okay. And then Rebecca, what I would also recommend that you can do is you can change your template to add like a payments applied and the balance. So when you're looking at an invoice, let's go back to a sample invoice here and we'll just preview it. So you can just have like total, but if you're like, no, what I really need is I need all these other things. I'm not sure which of these has it. So bear with me for a quick second. I would go into your template. So let me just show you. I have a tutorial on this as well, but you want to customize your template. And I'm not sure, I don't honestly know which of these has it on there, but let's see if it's this one. Okay, yeah, it's this one right here. Look, it was a good guess. Where I added in my tutorial how to add the balance and the payments. So you can take the credit memo and apply them and then they would be there. Or you can give them the statement. Those are like the workarounds. But on your invoice, it won't unless you added the actual credit memos directly to the invoice. Does that make sense? Do you guys all get it? I have a tutorial you can watch on how to go under like designer layout and add your stuff, customize the way it feels. And then also under additional customization, you can choose under your footer, what prints is what's going to print. So there's like, it shows on the screen, but then you can choose to select it to print on the invoice as well. Okay.
There's a question from Lisa on Facebook. She said she accidentally credited a customer and she's wondering how to get rid of that credit.
Okay, I think that this question was asked and we did this as a bonus Q&A. It's not on our list for today. We did this as a bonus Q&A because I think you already own Confidence with QuickBooks and it's in there and we gave it as the list. But as a quick reference, whenever you want to remove something for anybody, you go in and you find it and then you just go here and you void it. So you just go find your customer, can open up that way. You go back into your credit memo, you can go back with the arrows and you void it. You can void bills because it's the same as bills, credit memos, invoices, the same way. Do you have a tutorial to do a template on Mac? I probably don't, but put a request in and I might create it. Submit it as a request. We'll add it to the list and be honest, we have a lot of requests. What is the next question, Gracie?
Okay, the next question is there a method for defaulting a class by user?
Okay, so
in reports.
Okay, oh, in reports by user. So what is the exact question? So I think what the person was is like when they're entering data, because there's classes in QuickBooks and the benefit to a class is online or desktop. So I noticed somebody asked, do you do tutorials for online? And the answer is yes, I just don't have as many online tutorials. So if you go to my blog and you go under QuickBooks tips and tricks, you can actually sort them by online. I just don't have as many, but I do have Confidence with QuickBooks Online right here. So these ones, if you go to QuickBooks Online, I do teach QuickBooks Online. I just don't have, my community is not as large for online users at this moment, but I do some online tips. Those don't even look like they're the right ones. Hold on, let me see. I know I have online tips. Did I click the wrong button? So it should sort you for online. I'll have to look at that and make sure it's working properly, but I do. And on my if you go directly to my YouTube, one of my playlists is for QuickBooks Online under videos, under playlists. And I have a course, Candus QuickBooks Online course for online users. Okay, so I'm gonna come back to the list of questions in a second, but I wanna go back to the original question, which had to do with classes. So profit and loss, the benefit of using classes in QuickBooks is that it allows you to run a profit and loss with basically columns. So it's great if you have different locations. So one of our mastermind members originally had a painting company in San Francisco and one in LA, and she wanted to be able to see like where her profitability was. So instead of trying to customize your chart of accounts to be super long by each location, you add classes, so especially if you're a desktop user, to allow that. Online has a couple different options. They do have classes. But as far as desktop for today, you can use classes, but the question was, can you set it up where a specific user always is entering on a specific class? And that is not a feature that I know is an option. Then wasn't there a second part to the question
Yes.
about
Sub-
using subclasses?
Yes.
So they
Basically,
asked,
is it useful ever?
is it,
So
yeah.
when would subclasses be helpful?
So where subclasses I think would be useful is if you have like a main category of a class and then you also want things below that. So for example, I have rental properties and I use my subclass on a duplex that I have. So the overall class is the original property, and then the difference like A and B side is subclasses. So I know the overall what that class or property made, but then also the different units. That's how I set up subclasses. So hopefully that gives you an idea of how to use them with so my specialty is really getting to know your business and then telling you how to customize QuickBooks around it. That's what I love to do in Comms QuickBooks and in my mastermind. So what's the next question?
Okay, we're on to our last question, and that is, how many classes can you actually have in QuickBooks?
I think it's pretty much unlimited. I don't know if there's a limit. I mean, I could Google it, but I wouldn't stress so much. If you're getting like a ton of classes, you might think about what is your business model. And sometimes what I see people doing, because they know that they can pull a profit and loss by class, they start using like customers by class. And that is not how the software is designed, because you can just do a profit and loss by job, which is basically customer. So in here, you can already see a profit loss and the profitability by job. So class is more bigger picture of what's going on with your business. Customers are like, how much did I make profitability? So without knowing the business model, I couldn't really tell them, but I do see we have some like backup questions to what we actually answered. So we'll cover those. For some reason, I can't pull up the Q&A. I'm not sure if maybe you have it up, so it won't let me pull it up, but there's somebody popped something in the Q&A. What does that say?
Okay. When Christy asked, when paying credit card balances, do I write a check and also go into enter credit card charges and do a refund/credit? Or is there another way to enter in both locations without doing two entries?
Okay, so on one of our very original questions, which had to do with how do you pay your credit cards, the only reason that I was doing the credit was because the person didn't pay for it out of their business account. They paid for it out of their own personal money. So we still want to reflect the credit card was paid down, and we want to give them credit, right? So because they're an owner or a shareholder, we're giving them credit in that way, but we're also paying the credit card down. If you're paying the credit card down with your business, you would just write a check like I showed in the other example. So you don't want to do both unless you're paying your credit card, some of it personally and some of it with your business. But ideally, it's best to not commingle. So you really want to separate your credit cards. If you have like a personal and business, it's ideal. I know it doesn't always happen because cash flow or rewards or like different things that make it a benefit, but try your best to keep them separate. And as I said, it would be better that you put the money into your business account and then the business paid it. It would make life easier, because then you could just do like the full credit card pay down, whether it came from business or personal. Like say you put $500 in personally and you paid $1,000 business, and then it gets into, is it really business charges that you're paying for, or is it really personal charges? I mean, there's a lot of factors that I can't explain everything right this moment, but those are things to consider. So I just want to go through the chat real fast. I think there's
one more question, a follow-up question for printing invoices.
Okay.
Do you want to hear that one right now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. This is from Leah. She said, can your invoice print with the credit memo amounts applied?
Yeah, that's what I was just showing. So when it has to do with the template that you create. So when you create your template, which I think it was this one, and when you preview it, if on the template it has payments, then down here it would see, let me see if I can, I don't know if I can, there, I can kind of zoom in. See, you can have like your credits applied, which would be credit memos. Anything applied to the invoice, like, so it has the original invoice amount, any credits, and then the balance. Now it could be that the balance is 0 and people want to see that they had like a paid invoice, you could send them that. You could also, if like $200 was applied as a credit and they owe the difference, $500 and $499 or whatever, then it would show the balance. So that would be the only way you could show them the credit memo on the invoice that has been applied. Does that make sense? put it in the chat so that I can see it, if that makes sense. Okay, so then we had some other things. Susan said, thanks for the edit template on adding payment credits. This will be awesome for big jobs with progress payments. Yes. I highly recommend that so they can kind of see where they sit at. The other thing, which I probably shouldn't cover today because we'll add that to our list for next month, but how to apply credit. Like, so if people put money down before you start doing work, creating a credit on that. Will you make a note for me on that I want to create that? Yeah. Remind me. And then, let me see, Bev says, I know you are not answering questions. However, I will ask and hope you have time. How do you enter a beginning balance for a company that has not balanced in years? I think I have a tutorial on that actually on my channel. Beginning balance, how to add it. I'm sure I do actually. People are gonna be like, you do. Let's see, beginning, let's just do balance. Pretty sure I have one. You can watch it. Add or adjust the beginning balance in QuickBooks. Look at that, boom. I'd recommend you watch that video, Bev. Let me click on it real fast and I'll put the link in there for you. Hold on just a second. Like most of the questions you're gonna have, well, not all of them. The difference between like my tips and tricks and like QuickBooks, Commons QuickBooks is Commons QuickBooks more like it takes everything. My tips are like things I've thought about that you guys would need or have been asked. Okay, there you go, Bev. I think that's everything. I think we answered them all. I think so. Do we do all Facebook too? We're good?
Yep.
I can't see the Facebook right now. Okay, and the Q&As, I see something in there. Yeah, good?
Leah just responded and she said, thank you. I think I was looking at the balance due, which said 0 in response to the applying credit.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, all right. Did you guys like this? Are you going to come back next month? Let me know. To our Q's with Candus. Yes, I love it.
Speak about masterminds quickly.
Oh, about my mastermind. Sure. So 2 to 3 times a year, I mentioned this earlier, I offer a mastermind, which is basically so I have Confidence QuickBooks and I do it typically throughout the year more as a self-study here and there, which is the course, and you get like a bonus Q&A, where the mastermind and the point of the mastermind is Confidence with QuickBooks, my course, but you get to come in and you get to really ask me questions. So if you're a bookkeeper and you don't understand really how to think, so my mastermind is really about answering questions like today, but more thinking about how to design QuickBooks for your business, how to simplify it, or how to design QuickBooks for your clients. I've realized, I think I've known this for a long time, but it really hit me recently. Like, do you realize like everybody has their unique gifts in this world? You have your unique gifts. And the sooner you figure out what it is, the sooner you can go out and serve people for that. My unique gift is I can really like, when I work with private clients, I get between 45 and 90 minutes to find out what they need help with and fix it. And so I was telling this to Gracie, like I need them to tell me what their business is, how they want to design QuickBooks, or what the problem is, and then fix it. That is my gift. And so what I do in my mastermind is you go through the course, but then you get support along the way, more support, where you go, okay, Candus, I learned this, but how do I apply it to my business? Or I messed up this, how do I fix it? And that's what the mastermind really is designed for. And then on my last mastermind, I did quarterly check-ins. So the mastermind was in March, and then I did quarterly check-ins in June, September, and December. This mastermind, I haven't decided exactly what that's gonna look like, but it's a place for you to come and really get your questions and your help. Does that answer your question, Rana? Did I explain it? If I have a question for you in the future, how will I know if your live will cover my question? Well, we have probably about 200 questions already submitted. And what we do is we go through and we try to figure out, the team and I, what is going to be the one that best answers the questions. So you could submit a question, it'll get added to the list. And then as I can't guarantee when it will be, but if you join my tips and tricks, I will let you know when they're coming up. I do them once a month. And then what else? We put it in, like, so if you go to like my tips and tricks, we break out what questions were answered at what minute marker, so you can go back and refer to those for reference as well. And my team, if they know it was your question, will let you know that it was answered. Ah, thanks. You're welcome. Thank you. So happy I was able to finally jump on. Well, I'm glad you're able to jump on as well. I think that's everything. Did I miss anybody? Okay. So today I did a little extra chatting. Last time I think I was a little more succinct. I'll promise to try to be more succinct, but you also get to know me a little bit more by me being Candus on these calls. So this will be uploaded to YouTube. It will be emailed out if you are part of my community and you've joined my tips and tricks. I will send it out. That was this week's tip, was this. What else? That's it. Mark your calendar for September 17th. That is when my mastermind opens if you want to know more about it, or if you just want to learn more about QuickBooks and become truly confident with it. I'm excited. Yeah, I've watched. Okay, cool. All right, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking your time. I will let you go. Have an amazing week. I will be back next week with a tip and trick. I have some new stuff and some inspiration. So real quick, I was at I hurt my shoulder about 3 months ago, and so I've been going to physical therapy. And so if you ever saw me like do a video and I didn't look like I was moving one arm very much, it's because I hurt it. I hurt the tendon, like tendonitis and bursitis in my right shoulder. It was super bummer, honestly. But I was there last week and I was chatting with the ladies and I was talking, I just like to talk inspiration because it's my thing I love to do. I was talking about personality tests and building a team and really like learning about what type of personalities are best for different areas in your business. And also like understanding the person in your life, your family members, their personality. And they're like, you have to talk about this. And I said, I do typically talk about different things on my Facebook. I have inspirational insights, but I haven't done them lately. So I promised them and I promise you, I'm going to come back with more inspirational insights. So if you don't follow my Facebook page, check it out because that's where I usually leave those. Thank you for your clear and concise information. You're welcome. I second Tammy's request. Please do some Mac stuff. Okay, I will put it on my to-do list. I'll have Gracie put it on my to-do list. All right, so don't forget that our thought of the day today was, I express my gratitude. Make gratitude your spiritual practice today. Start with, good morning, bed. Thank you for being so comfortable. I love you. The more you express gratitude, the more you will find to be grateful for. So true. I've experienced this in my own life. And if you start being more grateful, you will too. I've also learned a new journaling strategy recently. It's coming down the pipeline. Watch out for my videos. They're going to be more than just QuickBooks moving forward. So don't forget to check out my channel and I'll send them out in email form as well. Mwah! Thank you for being here and thank you for being part of my community. Let me make sure I'm on here. I truly appreciate you being here and I never take you for granted. Have a good night. A good day. See you soon.